What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It is New Year's Eve and I could not let 2016 go by without giving you guys one more video. So as the year winds down, everyone tends to reflect back on the year as to what some of their top sneaker pickups of the year were. Now for me, I'm a Jordan guy, so what I want to do is hit you guys with my top 5 Jordan pickups of 2016. So the interesting part of it is I have 5 pairs of Air Jordans right beside me, which are definitely hands down in my top 5. Number 1 and number 2 are pretty set, but from 3 to 5, I'm not too sure which shoe is gonna land where. So I'm sort of gonna wing it and kind of decide as we go along. But what I want to do is not only show you the shoe, but sort of go into detail and explain the significance behind the shoe and why they made my top 5. So with that being said, let's get it going. Okay, coming in at number 5, I'm gonna have to go with these. The Nike Air Jordan 1 top 3. Ironically, the top 3 did not make my top 3. The reason why it is in my top 5 pickups of 2016 is because when I first saw pictures of this shoe, I actually fell in love with it. I loved everything about it. I thought it was such a dope concept by Jordan Brand to combine arguably what is the top 3 Air Jordan 1 models. Sometimes when you combine different colorways and kind of fuse them together, the shoe can come out being a little crazy, a little bit too colorful, but Jordan Brand did a great job with this. It's still very subtle, it's still very clean looking, and it's not really too over the top. Now the funny thing about it is that this shoe was posted up on the Nike.ca webpage for days. You could actually go to the page, view the item, pick your size, and click checkout. But once you clicked checkout, the page would sort of reload for a few minutes before giving you this error message. So deep down, we kind of knew that the shoe was sold out, but the fact that it was still on the page gave us hope that the shoe was still available. It just so happened that maybe about 2 weeks later, I was just casually surfing Kijiji and Craigslist, came across a pair posted for sale for about $280, I think, which isn't too bad because Canadian retail for these, after tax and everything, came to about $240 or maybe just under $240. So $280 is not really a bad price. $40 over retail isn't a huge deal. So I hit that guy up, asked him for more pictures, asked him for a picture of the receipt. Everything checked out. Told him I was interested in buying them and asked him when he was available to meet. He actually said he was looking to get rid of them fairly quickly and said if I could meet him right away, he'd let me have them for $260. At that point, it was a no-brainer. I was like, yes, let's do it, let's meet up. He ended up being a really cool dude. On top of selling them to me for just about $20 over retail, the story behind it is that he actually purchased these shoes for his brother for Christmas. It turned out that his brother ended up getting a pair for himself. So he told me, he's like, hey, you know what, man? Like, I'm not in this to overcharge people insane amounts of money. I just love shoes. It turned out that I bought these for my brother and he ended up having a pair. So in the end, he made 20 bucks and I was able to get a pair of shoes that I didn't think I was gonna get for just $20 over retail. So this is why it makes my top 5, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, moving on to number 4. Ooh, this is tough. I'm gonna have to say, I'm gonna have to go with the Space Jam 11s that released just a few weeks ago. Now don't get me wrong, this is probably the biggest and most anticipated release of 2016. I'm not arguing that. This probably makes the number 1 on a lot of your top 5 lists, but there's a couple of reasons why it's only at number 4 for me. But the main reason why I didn't rank this higher is because, so I've been into sneakers for about 15, 16 years now. So every Jordan 11 that I have doesn't look like this. Like, Jordan Brand switched it up for this release and they had good reasoning. Like, they said that this was more accurate to the original. But for me, for someone who's been collecting for about 15, 16 years, around the time when the first Jordans were retroed and then they came out again with the Space Jams in 2009 and then the Concords and the Breads and the Legend Blues after that, all those Jordans look different, and in my mind that's what a Jordan 11 should look like. I actually have my other Space Jam right here to give you guys a comparison. Right away, you can see the differences in the two. The patent leather is a lot thicker and kind of just makes the shoe a little bit clunky and bulky to me. The shorter patent leather on this pair from 2009 kind of just gives the shoe a little bit more of a sleek look to it, for me anyway. But like I said, this is the Jordan 11 to me. This is what I know to be the Jordan 11. Not only is it the patent leather, but the toe boxes are completely different. If you compare the two, the toe box on the new pair is a lot boxier and higher, and the toe box on the other pairs is just a bit lower. It's a bit more rounded off on the edges. And the funny thing about that is, back in the day when we would shop and scour the internet for pairs of Jordan 11s, one of the ways to tell if a Jordan 11 was fake or not was the boxy toe box. So if you got a pair that actually looked like this, if you found a pair that looked like this, that was one of the indications that it was fake. Whereas on the real pairs, it's a lot lower and it kind of just rounds off at the edge there. So it's just kind of interesting that Jordan Brand made this toe box boxier and more squared off here. In the end, it's still a dope shoe. It's still an iconic shoe, and that's pretty much why I still bought them anyway. It's more so the meaning behind the shoe and the significance behind the shoe. For anyone who's followed Michael Jordan's career and followed his comeback out of retirement, you know how rare it is to have a Jordan 11 with the 45 on the back. That's pretty much why I ended up getting them anyway. It's just for that. It's just for the meaning behind the shoe, the meaning behind Michael Jordan's career, and just knowing how much this means and how much this makes a difference to the shoe. Again, still a great shoe, still a dope shoe. Not my top 1 or top 2, but still in my top 5, coming in at number 4. Okay, moving on to number 3. I think I'm gonna have to go with the Air Jordan 1 Breads, or also known as the Air Jordan 1 Bands. Now, the reason why this is in my top 5 is not so much the shoe itself, but more so the story about how I was able to purchase the shoe, and what I think is one of the most creative and dopest sneaker marketing initiatives ever done. Nike and Jordan Brand executed a secret drop on October 18th, which happens to be the same day in history that the NBA actually banned this shoe from the league. So I just thought it was really cool and really interesting how they were able to execute this release and this secret drop without information being leaked, without anyone really knowing. Now, the story about this pair in particular is that on the morning of the release, I was actually at the bank. I had to get a couple of things done. So I was lining up at the bank, waiting for my turn, sort of organizing my paperwork, organizing my checks, everything that I had that I needed to get done that morning. Finally, when I was done with the bank representative, I started to walk away, and naturally I pulled up my phone, opened up Instagram, and just started scrolling through. And to my surprise, I saw this post by Foot Locker saying they had restocked this shoe in commemoration of this shoe getting banned on this day. So when I saw that, I ran my ass up Yonge Street to Foot Locker House of Hoops, ran about 5 to 6 blocks in my dress shoes, in my dress pants. When I got there was about 10 to 15 people ahead of me. The manager was there. He was sort of organizing and facilitating the line. And I asked him, hey man, I just saw the post. You know, do you guys still have pairs? Am I able to get a pair? And he just said, yeah man, you're good. Don't worry. We got enough. You should be good. That's the story behind this shoe and why it's so meaningful to me and why it's made my top 5 list of 2016. Okay guys, coming in at number 2, the Air Jordan 11 Pantone Pack. Now, the reason why this made my top 5 is that in my eyes, it's just a beautiful shoe. On top of being a Jordan 11, this all blue single tone upper is just, in my mind, it just gives it that almost like a player exclusive kind of feel. You see the solid tone Jordan 11 a lot with some of Jordan Brand's professional athletes. You've seen the all red ones with Chris Paul. You've seen the all gold ones with Kawhi Leonard. This shoe sort of just gives off that player exclusive feel, on top of being extremely limited. Now, the story behind this shoe is that when it released, it actually released with another shoe, and you were forced to purchase both shoes. And I wasn't really feeling that. I really had no interest in the other shoe at all. And on top of being super limited, if you just wanted the Jordan 11, The resale price for these, I think, was probably around $500 just for the one shoe alone, whereas the entire pack was probably about $550. So it just didn't make sense to me. I just wasn't down. But the cool thing about it is that Toronto was the host city to the NBA All-Star Game this past year, and with that, Nike, Jordan Brand, Foot Locker, they had a lot of cool events and a lot of cool initiatives. And with that, they had a lot of restocks. What Nike did, which was really cool in partnership with Foot Locker, is that they actually decked out a lot of our streetcars, which are kind of like buses, basically the same thing. They kind of renovated them and decorated them with all of this shoe memorabilia and sneaker displays, and basically you had to win an opportunity to ride on one of these, and as it took you around the city, you had the opportunity to purchase exclusive shoes that had been restocked for that weekend. And it just so happened that when I was able to go on this for a ride, they had restocked on the Jordan Pantone pack. So in my mind, I was kind of like, you know what, let's just do it. I missed out the last time, and I'm not gonna pay $500 for just one of the shoes when the entire pack was about $550. The thing that worked out really well is that one of my friends actually wanted the Jordan 29, so I ended up selling that to him, and in the end I was able to just get the pair that I really wanted. So there you have it, coming in at number 2, the Air Jordan 11 from the Pantone pack. Alright guys, so as we head into my number 1 Jordan pickup of 2016, some of you may rank this one below some of the other shoes that I picked up. I'm going to explain to you why this shoe ranks as my number 1 and why it's so meaningful. It's actually the same shoe in 2 different colorways, but without further ado, my number 1 Jordan pickup of 2016 is the Air Jordan 10 OVO in both black and white. So first of all, the reason why this shoe means so much to me is the Air Jordan 10 was my first Jordan as a kid growing up. It was actually around the time that Jordan made his comeback back in '95, and that was the same time that I was getting more interested in basketball as a sport. So the timing was just crazy for me. On top of all the buzz that was coming from Michael Jordan coming out of retirement, one day after school, my dad surprised me with a pair of Air Jordan 10s in the steel colorway. So when I found out that Jordan was doing a collaboration with OVO on the Jordan 10s, just had to get them. So the story about the white one is that I actually posted that same story on this local sneaker group here in Toronto, kind of explaining that the Air Jordan 10 is my favorite shoe and it really means a lot to me. So anyway, a few days later, a guy hit me up. He actually said he was able to get a pair online and he was just waiting for it to come in. Said he really liked my story and he appreciated the meaning behind it. So he said if I was able to drive out to him. He lives out in Oshawa, which is about a 45-minute drive. He said that if I can drive out and pick them up, that he'd sell it to me for a price that, to be honest, I don't even really remember. I just do remember that it was a lot lower than what some of the other resale prices were. So if you're watching this video, man, I just want to say thank you again. I really appreciate what you did, and thanks for looking out. Okay, so the story behind the black pair. Actually, my cousin out in LA was able to grab a pair on this through the Nike app, I think. When they restocked out there. He was able to grab another pair in a size 10, which doesn't fit him. So he asked me if I wanted them. I was like, yeah, send them my way. So he sent them to me, and at one point in time, I actually had 2 pairs of the white Air Jordan 10 OVOs. Then the black pair came out and I wasn't able to grab them. So what ended up happening was that I actually traded my second pair of white ones for a pair of the black ones. And again, in the process, met a really cool dude. So these released during NBA All-Star Weekend as well. And the guy that I met, I think he actually works at Foot Locker, and he was helping out with Jordan Brand and helping out with some of the things they were doing, and he was able to grab a pair. We ended up doing a trade. So again, it kind of goes back to the story behind the shoe and the people that you meet and some of the experiences that you have along the way. So yeah, that is why these two come in at number 1 on my top 5 list. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. There's nothing else left to be said but to have a happy New Year's Eve and a happy New Year's. Have fun, but please be safe, and I will see you guys in the new year. Peace.